Konnichiwa, everybody. Happy Monday night. We are talking. Welcome to Carbine's and Cantrips Book Club. Almost forgot the name of the show there. But yeah, tonight we have another special guest. March has been a sweet month for having guests on the show. Tonight we are having Jason Hunt from Sci-Fi4me.com. If I remember your logo correctly, you've been doing that since 2009. Is that right?
Since 2009, actually 17 years today.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. We're still not old enough to vote.
Well,
yeah,
they play real fast and loose with who can vote and who can't vote. But anyway, that's not what this stream is about. Jesse is on his way. He's got technical issues and he's trying to figure out how to get on the stream, whether it's with PC or his phone. He's going to get here. But we couldn't wait for him anymore. So he'll hop in while we're live. But yeah, my name is Bruce. Tyler obviously is another regular co-host who is joining us tonight. And yeah, like I said, we got Jason Hunt from Sci-Fi for Me. Jason, you want to kind of give us an introduction on your deal over there at Sci-Fi and all the things you guys do?
Sure. Well, we started off with grand ambitions to take the Sci-Fi Channel's audience away from them when they changed their brand, and then became a blog in a basement. So the ambition kind of dwindled right there at the beginning. It's like, oh, it's going to cost money.
Yeah,
never mind. So it basically started off like any fan website, a lot of articles, reviews and TV recaps and think pieces, essays and such.
Mm-hmm.
And as we got onto more media lists and we got out in the public and we hit the Comic Cons and we started getting interviews. And eventually in 2012 we got onto YouTube. And it gradually grew from there. Right now we're snail crawling to 3,000 subscribers, but it's been a slog. But we cover science fiction, fantasy, horror, and related subgenres with video games and tabletop and comic books and that kind of thing. So not total pop culture entertainment. It's still niche. I mean, we're not going to cover the latest Madden video game, but we'll talk about Elder Scrolls or Super Mario Galaxy or whatever, as long as there is a genre connection to that. And so far people seem to like what we're doing. I mean, we're still around and haven't been totally completely shut out of everything yet. So
yeah, well, I mean, dude, 3,000, that's nothing to scoff at. I'm plugging away at 300. It is a grind, man. Every time I get one new subscriber, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. But yeah, 3,000, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, we're getting there. Well, and I've got one of our regulars who keeps, they have made the request of me that when we get to 3,000, the expectation is, it's a milestone. You got to do something special, right?
Mm-hmm.
The expectation is that I would, once we get to 3,000, read online on camera something written by Tom King, and I'm not really sure that I want to do that. But it's like
I'm not familiar with Tom King. What is
Tom King is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and he various different DC Comics titles where he's basically doing his own therapy through.
He has some weird mommy issues,
and he used to work for the CIA. So yeah, Tom King is not respected among fans as a writer. Because it's like this character is a superhero, right?
Well, you know what? Yeah, audibly from you trying to be an alternative to the Sci-Fi Channel to a blog. There's nothing wrong with a good audible. And who knows, dude? Maybe down the road you guys can, I don't
Yeah,
know,
well,
find a partner or something.
I mean,
we've
3,000 is probably
done
about Sci-Fi Channel's audience nowadays.
well. See, the funny thing is, okay, so the Sci-Fi Channel was 17 years old when they changed their brand. In February of 2009 is when they announced it. And there was all sorts of hue and cry. They're trying to be another USA network because they were right then. They were still doing wrestling. They were doing food channel, food stuff. They were doing the reality shows, Fear Factor and Scream, whatever. And when they changed the brand, people said, "Oh, they're trying to get away from science fiction. This is the first step."
Mm-hmm.
And I just want a place where I could just watch my science fiction in peace and just leave me alone. And I thought, well, this is an opportunity. Of course, I didn't have any resources at the time, and I still don't. But when I saw this, I'm like, there could be another Sci-Fi Channel, but it doesn't. Why would it have to be on cable? Because YouTube. This is back when YouTube was still doing cat videos and golf balls to the groin, right?
Yeah.
It was not. Google didn't own it yet. Netflix was still sending out DVDs. Nobody was doing this streaming thing. It didn't exist at the time. But I was sitting there going, okay, well, YouTube does this thing. Why couldn't we do something where we could send out we could use YouTube as a platform, and we could show, movies that are in the public domain, and we could download a bunch of different books that are in the public domain and publish our own issues, all of these different things. And the original idea was we could combine Starlog and Cinefantastique and Premiere Magazine and your local TV channel and your local radio station and your local movie theater and your local community center and your local library, and just be this catch-all resource, everything that fans could, I'm a science fiction fan, I'm going to go here and do this. And it didn't quite work out that way. But that's still in the back of my head of what I would like for it to be at some point, but it takes a lot of money. Now, since then, of course, Netflix has done what it's done and dominated the streaming space. YouTube has changed over and become this algorithm-driven monster machine. But some of the stuff that we could do, we could still do with the, with the public domain books and, the movies and that sort of thing. So it's still out there. And you talk about calling an audible. We took a break in 2018. We came back and said, all right, this is the new strategy, abort or pivot. And everything that we tried, everything that we did, all of the different shows that we were doing, all of the different things we did on the .com, there was, you'd get to a certain point and say, is this working? Yes or no. If it is, fine, we keep going. If it's not, then do we make an adjustment or do we stop? And that seems to have worked out fairly well over the years as we've done that. So we're scaled back quite a lot now. But at one point we had, 20, 25 different volunteers in the gang of meddling kids, as I call them. And we were doing 10, 12 different shows in production. Right now it's just one, because right now it's just me and my wife. We get some IT support from a couple of people that are watching all the time. So it's scaled down quite a bit, but eventually, who knows? Maybe it gets bigger again after we get to 3,000 subscribers, and we start bringing in some new volunteers and the staff to write articles and opinion pieces and see what happens.
Heck yeah. So wait, are you guys, you said you have one show now, so are you guys just is that a royalty free or public domain show that you're doing, or are you actually like
no it's the show's called Live from the Bunker, and today was our 12th anniversary for that show. It started in 2014. It's a talk show, and basically it's generally there's 2 hours for sure that we do. The first hour I call the Rush Limbaugh hour, because it's here are the headlines, here's what I think about it, news headlines and commentary. The second hour is my James Lipton hour, which he's the host of Inside the Actors Studio. and that's the interview block. So anytime we have guests, I try to schedule them for the second hour. So here are the headlines. Here's what I think. We come back. We've got a guest. We have a conversation for an hour with people like Chuck Dixon or Joe Haldeman, Mercedes Lackey, Cat Rambo. I mean, there's all sorts of people that have been through this ringer, and I make the joke. The show is much more interesting when it's somebody else, not just me talking. And it's been a real interesting ride because not everybody that I interview is famous.
Mhm.
Not everybody that I interview is award-winning, author, whatever. I've interviewed comic book creators. I've interviewed actors and filmmakers and scientists. And, we've got regulars that come in, talk about PR stuff and finance. It's been a really good mix. And like I said, Chuck Dixon was on the show last Thursday. We have all sorts of people that come through here, and we just talk about the latest projects that they're in. We just have a conversation, and we are 33 episodes away from number 1,000. We've been doing it that long. It started as an audio only podcast, and has evolved to now be video, and we're that close to our 1,000th episode.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Jesse, welcome, dude. How you doing, man? You have to hide for some conserve bandwidth.
Yeah, I'm trying to just make sure I can stay connected at this point, man. I don't know what's going on with my technology tonight, but it has not wanted to cooperate.
Yeah, I blame Iran or China, maybe Russia. Somebody out there is doing something.
Professional streamers.
Speaking of,
so we have this thing whenever we have technical issues, because my setup here is very contrived.
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple monitors.
And you're like the guy in the chair.
I'm the guy in the chair, and all of these, all of these different monitors perform different functions when I'm doing the show. I have my control panel here, but a lot of times, I've got my audio panel back here, and anytime there's any kind of a glitch, something goes wrong. If I've got to take it apart and go remotely and go, broadcast from a different place and come back, something goes wrong. And the first 15-20 minutes, and I have gotten into the habit of blaming Stone Martin weasels. These are a very specific kind of weasel that you find in Germany, and these weasels have an affinity for the wiring in the engines of Mercedes cars. They specifically target the Mercedes. Nobody knows why. I guess it's the grade of wire or something. But these Stone Martin weasels go after the wiring in Mercedes vehicles. So it's like, anytime we have a glitch, it's like, oh, it's the Stone Martin weasels now. So y'all can start blaming the weasels if you want.
I will. Fucking German weasels, man. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's a pretty good intro. I like it. We usually open up. We've been starting to open up for our guests having a question. We could probably open this up to everybody. The question is Star Wars related. Seems like it fits pretty well with sci-fi.
Okay.
What Star Wars ship would you want to pilot out of all the Star Wars ships?
Oh, probably the Millennium Falcon, just because.
Mm-hmm. I did see, I think it was on Instagram, I saw Star Wars Theory. I can't remember who he's with, but they're kind of talking S on the Falcon, saying it was overrated.
Well, I guess it depends. Because if you're looking at the Millennium Falcon from Solo, then yeah. But, if you look at the original trilogy and what kind of story Lucas was telling, the Millennium Falcon it's the car that you tricked out under the tree in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't look like much, but you've got all sorts of juice under the engine under the hood where, nobody sees it. It's really unassuming and you don't think anything of it until you hit the gas pedal. It's like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
That's the Millennium Falcon. It's a hot rod, but it's
like
not, it doesn't look like a hot rod.
It's an 81. It's an 81 Volvo 240 wagon with like a bigger turbo on it.
Yeah, it's straight out of George Lucas's teenage years where he was racing.
Mm-hmm.
I
didn't know he was that cool.
He was. He almost died because of it, because he wrapped his car around a tree when he was 18, 19 years old, and is lucky to be alive because I've seen the photograph. I don't know how he survived it. Yeah. That car is well and truly completely wrapped around the tree like tinfoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, it sounds like he's had a little bit of a Paul Walker streak, like just loving driving like a silly goose. But yeah, dude, I think for me, I don't know, man. I obviously X-wings are sweet, but I think Darth Maul's ship was it Scimitar? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Tyler?
I'm the one ship that's been my go-to across 4 Battlefront games and Star Wars Squadrons. It's got to be the TIE Interceptor.
Nice. Jesse,
Shields, I don't need it. I don't need any of that shit. I just need to be fast and have guns.
Speed is our armor. You there, Jesse?
He's probably still in a knife fight with his
yes, I'm working it. All righty. Well, yeah, tonight we'll see what time allows. But I was kind of thinking this was kind of a last minute idea to talk about Dune, but I feel like on X this past week there was a lot of Dune discourse. And I've read the first 2 books, but there's people that are obviously, I'm assuming all you guys are probably much more well read on that series than I am. But I see a lot of the same kind of like topics come up as far as the books go, and then people's misgivings on the movies who haven't read the books, like they're confused about like Idaho getting cloned, and so I just figured maybe we could chat up a little bit about Dune, and then what's wrong with sci-fi in the modern era. So maybe we talk about like some Starfleet Academy or obviously Star Wars, and then we don't want to go all negative, so maybe do some what's right. What are you guys excited about that's coming out right now? Not like old stuff that we obviously love, but like newer things that are coming out in sci-fi that we're excited about. And maybe if we got time after that, talk about the WB buyout. But let's start off with Dune.
If we must.
I'm just going to assume that you've read at least one Dune book, Jason.
I have read the first one. We have most of the others. My wife has been reading them, and she's more up to speed on everything than I am.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit that because I'm 10 years older. I should know all this stuff. But she is quite put out, let us say, on what she's seeing in the trailer for Dune Part 3, because at the end of Part 2, we had a major divergence with regard to Shani and Paul and Princess Irulan, and Denis Villeneuve has given some of the women characters, Jessica and Shani, a lot more to do than what's in the books. And as we've diverged a little bit further down the line, Part 1, Part 2, when Shani gets up and walks out and he storms out in this fit of rage, that's not in the book.
Yeah.
And all of the stuff between Shani and Jessica is now there's stuff now that can't happen, won't happen, might not happen because Villeneuve has taken liberties in Part 2. And my wife is looking at some stuff in Part 3, the trailer. She's like, "Oh, I have thoughts. She's just hot, and it just because we've been doing weekends talking about Starfleet Academy, and she says, "Well, now that season 1 is done, and we don't have those rants to do. Maybe we keep doing rants, and I can talk about 2, 3." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." But I don't have any particular thoughts one way or the other yet. I look at them these books are so dense.
Mhm.
And they have so much material in them and so much world building. It is almost impossible to do faithful adaptations the way that you would want to, especially if you're doing movies in the theater. If you did miniseries, maybe. Sci-Fi Channel did them, but
The
it's so complex a story, and it's the same kind of thing with Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson does this stuff, and there's stuff that gets left out, and there's stuff that gets changed. Project Hail Mary just came out this weekend, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's as faithful an adaptation as you could expect." Well, that doesn't mean it's 100% the book, because you got to make some changes. Because you got to accommodate a new medium.
Mhm.
You're now working at a visual medium. You have a limited amount of time that you can tell the story. This is not something where take your own pace and go through the whole thing. You have 2 hours. You have 2.5 hours. You got to get the whole thing done, point A to point B.
Mhm.
So I don't look at it with a certain level of expectation that it's going to be the book. As long as he's super respectful of the source material and doesn't try to turn it into some kind of political screed, I'm fine.
thing is, like, it is interesting because Herbert kind of undermines his own narrative in the first book, because everyone, like, Paul is made to be like very heroic, and apparently Herbert wanted it to be a cautionary tale about messianic figures or like great man of history.
Mhm.
The issue is, like, Paul is repeatedly in these situations where it's do the thing that advances you towards the jihad, or die.
Yeah.
Like it's either do what you have to do, or you and your mom die, or you and Johnny die, or like your unborn sister dies. Like all this nonsense. And like there is Villanueva just takes the village man.
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, thank you. He undermines it like a step further by changing the way some characters interact. Like the most egregious example I think of which is Shawnee. Because in the books, Shawnee is like his most fervent, like,
Dude, ride or die,
devoted,
dude.
Oh, yeah.
psychopath. Like Shawnee's like his queen bitch. And like
Mhm.
I was wrong about this, but like because last time I read the books I was in high school, and I'm in my early 30s now. But I was like, I saw that in the movies, and I was where she storms off to the desert, and I'm like, I definitely remember them being polygamous.
Mhm.
Like, the having multiple wives wasn't an issue. And I
They had
told,
like orgies to celebrate stuff, dude. Like,
yeah, I told like my buddies, I'm like, I'm pretty sure in the books, him taking the Emperor's daughter as a wife was like Chani's fucking idea. Which my brother recently read through
was.
that. He was like, yeah, it was okay.
I
was
think
her
it was.
fucking idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother said that wasn't like quite the case. Like it wasn't her idea, but like she had this whole reasoning for it. So it was like, I was like, oh well, that probably, if she's the one who's justifying it, then that's probably why I'm like, oh, what was her
Well,
idea?
the discussion, it's kind of like what was in the movie where he's sitting there going, "This is going to be a political arrangement," and that discussion kind of is there, but it's not. Shawnee's cool with it, because this is what has to
She's still the
happen
top.
for the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's still
she's
his
still
ride
top
or
wife.
die, and with this stuff's got to happen in order for stuff's got to happen. And her storming off in the book just not her didn't happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she didn't scowl at the reader. She doesn't like not believe the weird like atheism too. Like not just like she went from like being his most like fervent devoted follower to basically being an atheist. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't believe like this shit. I in some of that I think it's like modern writers can't believe in like anything
Yeah.
higher, or like they're not spiritual themselves, so they don't expect other people to be spiritual or have like a
Yeah.
metaphysical layer to, or they can't stand in the shoes of someone who can see a metaphysical layer to the world.
Yeah.
well, part of that is this Marxist way of thinking that has infected the entertainment industry as a whole. This is something we were talking about the other day. Richard Palinelli and John Wright, who are science fiction authors, were on the show, and we were all talking about the fact that George R.R. Martin is never going to finish his books because he's a nihilist. He's incapable of thinking in terms of good versus evil because it's all shades of gray and everything's dark and everybody's a bad guy. And he killed off the one heroic figure in his books that he needs in order to have the happy heroic ending that he wants to do, that he wants to have in order to be the next Lord of the Rings. And he can't do it because he's killed off the character that'll make that possible, because he doesn't believe in heroism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the case with a lot of these people. You Star Trek, Star Wars, all of the people that are running all of the different franchises that we're at, they're in that same Marxist identitarian mindset that causes them to have this blind spot. They don't believe that it's possible for there to be good guys. You have the bad guys and you have the less bad guys.
Yeah, or they
And
make the bad
everybody's
guys
driven-
look like they're, sympathetic. Like there's a reason they're bad. Like the bad guys are the good guys,
Right.
basically.
And that,
oh, it's
and
society's fault they're bad guys.
well,
Yeah.
and that goes back to the Menendez brothers, because when the Menendez brothers were on trial, you got these good-looking kids, these good-looking strapping young boys who were abused by their parents, and the whole thing, the narrative that played out is they were abused by their parents, so of course they killed their parents.
Mhm.
And so they became sympathetic characters, and that translated into being this narrative where, well, it's not the bad guy's fault. Something happened. He's got to have trauma. There was a trauma. There was this terrible thing that happened, or whatever, and that seeped into, through the news media. It seeped into the entertainment media, and now writers are, easily led into, it's not the villain's fault. The villain is a victim of circumstances, just like everybody else.
Mhm.
There is no evil just for evil's sake.
Yeah. So Sauron's.
Hi, PP. Good to see you.
Yeah, they
Yeah, let's read PB's question real quick. That's not what Herbert was saying. He said that humanity has a need to be led, and charismatic leaders exploit that. Religious leaders, most of all. Paul saw that humanity lost its agency. It's got a follow-up comment. The golden path was the way for humanity to reclaim self-determination, but it takes thousands of years of oppression. He detailed that in interviews.
Yeah, Paul's a tragic figure. I know y'all covered that a little bit, and I've been stuck in the back. I've had all kinds of stuff to say and just been stuck in the back room. Lucas survived. Yeah, Lucas. I did a whole report on Lucas in school. Lucas survived that car wreck actually because he got ejected. That's the only reason he made it through the car wreck. He didn't have a seatbelt on, and it threw him clear of the massive wreck. And so when everything got crumpled into torn metal and half lit on fire, he wasn't in the car to experience that.
You heard it here, kids.
yeah.
Jesse told you not to wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying at all. But we did a whole panel at Con Possible on Dune and talked about how Paul is a tragic figure, that he is stuck on this terrible roller coaster of either I do something that creates all kinds of misery, or all of humanity is doomed over and over again.
Yeah.
And everybody seemed to totally let it over. I call it cowardice. Just like they're going to have the Bonnie and Princess Aurelian issue survive the movie. That, and I don't know how they're going to fix that. Chinese central figure in the looks her in the face and says, she may be my wife but I'm never going to touch that woman. I don't love her. You're my wife in every way that matters.
Yeah.
And it's a huge point of the book. It's part of their romance, and I don't understand if you're going to make Dune,
Well, and
why
he
you would
said-
be scared of that.
Yeah.
Well, now he says that in the movie, but it's done in a way that sets Chani in place as opposed to reassuring her. The tone of that conversation is different. And
Yeah.
Chani's reaction to it is different. The words are still there. This is a political arrangement. She's going to be the wife, but she means nothing to me. Shani's reaction of jealousy and envy and anger and how dare you do this to me, that's not in the book. And that's where it starts to diverge. And I think Jesse's right. You're going to have a problem going into part 3 what you do with that, because it's a pretty big change.
Yeah.
And Jameis,
Well, it's really frustrating too, because like for me, like, oh, go ahead.
well, just to further the point of how it affects the story, Jameis, the guy that he kills in the knife fight to prove he's worthy of being a Fremen, Jameis had a wife as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kills. I don't know if I'm here or not. Okay, now I'm here.
There we
You're
go.
in and out.
When Paul kills Jameis, he's responsible for Jameis's wife. He is instantly married in the eyes of the Fremen. He has to take care of her. She becomes part of his household.
Yeah.
So the whole story is a strange cultural polyamory from almost the rip of Paul's journey into being a Fremen and taking over and becoming Muad'Dib and all that.
Yeah.
But for me too, like the ending of Dune, I felt like, because I feel like if I'm remembering correctly, it was Jessica talking to Chani about basically watching Paul marrying the Emperor's daughter, and the line is something like, history will remember us as the wives, because she's kind of in a similar situation. Obviously, she was a Ben Gesserit. She wasn't like a noble, so she wasn't married to Leto, but she was the father of Paul, or the mother of Paul and stuff. So like she basically is, the unofficial wife of Leto, just like Chani is the unofficial wife of Paul, even though on paper it's not the case. And I feel like, I don't know, man, the fact that they cut that, I don't know if they cut that line out, but like I felt like that was such a strong ending, and to kind of go away from that is just, because like, yeah, especially when you get to, because I've only read the first one and then Messiah, but still, like, Chani is still super ride or die in the Messiah, and then it's ride, and then spoilers, die. So yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. It sounds like you said because I haven't seen part 2. I've only seen the first movie, but it sounds like they're doing the thing where they focus a lot more on the female characters, more so than they were focused on the book. Not that
Well, Villeneuve gives them more agency, gives them more to do in the movies, just because modern sensibilities wouldn't be.
Well, it worked for The Witcher with Ciri and Yennefer, so I don't see why it won't work for Dune.
Yeah, and well, for the most part, objectively speaking, just looking at this Dune series of movies as movies, it works. It's fine.
Mhm.
If you look at it as a straight up adaptation of the books, there's divergence enough that anybody who's familiar with the books are going to look at it and go, hang on, I have a question. But again, it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like any kind of big epic adaptation like this, you're not going to be able to do a 1-to-1 translation.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's some stuff that's going to get cut. There's some stuff that's going to get merged together, and you got to kind of scrunch it to make it fit.
Mhm.
It's just like there's no Tom Bombadil in the Lord of the Rings movies, because there's just not. And for what Villeneuve is doing, I think so far he's done a fantastic job, because this is such an epic set of films, above and beyond what Lynch tried to do in '84.
Mhm.
So
I'm sorry, PV just reminded me that the Baron got bodied by a fucking toddler in the book. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, dude, Aaliyah, she's crazy, man. She's funny.
Well, and that's another one of those, like, we're spinning off the rails. And, like, I love the first 2 movies. Like, I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to trash these movies. I I was so amped in the theater because this is one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah.
But when we start talking about going forward, I don't know what the fuck this dude's gonna do because we're so messed up right now from what happened in the books. We're missing characters, we're missing events, not doing the dinner. I don't know how people are supposed to follow the story if you never read the book, to be honest. And I love this movie, but the way that the story works is so complicated with politics and the way the world works that they're just really expecting people to pick up on the run. And the dinner scene in the movie, everybody sits down, and everyone involved, like almost except for the Harkonnen, sits down and they have this talk. And Paul puts all the pieces together for everyone and says, like, oh, cool. So I figured out that you're the judge of the change, but you're going to screw us over. And I figured out that the Harkonnens are really going to come back, but I don't know how or when it's going to happen. And he like starts putting all the different, aspects of this together. Without that scene, I don't know how anybody was expected to follow what was happening.
I didn't have a problem following so far part 1 and part 2. Now, I will admit I have read Dune more than once. I have not gotten into I can't remember if I've read Children of Dune or not. I want to say that I haven't. Because I have a pile. This bookshelf right here is full of this is all of the books that I've gotten for review, and it dates back to 2012, and I haven't caught up yet. So I'm way behind, not just on the review books, but the stuff that I need to catch up on and read. But I haven't had a problem following the films, and Villeneuve is going to do his thing. Visually, it's stunning. It is such an impressive piece of work that what he's doing. For the purists, yeah, there's going to be some issues. And if we get to the worm, I don't know how he's going to do that. But fortunately, he's not. Yeah, I mean, once he's done with part 3, he's done, so he doesn't have to worry about it, I guess. But it's those things where, again, you have this dichotomy between the people who have read the book and the general audience. It's the same kind of thing with any kind of entertainment commentary. All of us doing the YouTube stuff, we're paying attention to Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and Variety and Games Radar and Newsarama and all of these different sites. The general population doesn't know anything about any of this stuff, and they don't care. It's not important to them. I'm going to go to the movies. I'm going to watch a movie. I like it or I don't like it. And that's 90% of the people that are out there. And for the Dune fans who have read the books and they know the stuff and they know, I mean, they could write their own wikis. They know it so well. They're going to go in there. They're going to have a conniption fit, and they're going to lean over to their girlfriend and say, well, this is this, and they're going to explain how it's all done differently and how it's all wrong. Yeah. Right.
I mean,
that's a small group.
Yeah.
There was a possibility you could have gotten like a Lord of the Rings level adaptation where maybe it's not blow for blow what happens in the book, but it's faithful to the spirit of the book. The only realistic gripe I have with like the Lord of the Rings as it was adapted by Peter Jackson is Aragorn's character, in the sense that like he wasn't like a kind of like a moody, like, oh man, like, can I do it? Like, am I able to do it? He wasn't like that at all in the books. Hero. He wasn't reluctant at all. He was just the hero. He was like, hell yeah, we're gonna do this. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna take the ring to Mount Doom. Hell yeah, we're gonna take the ring to Mount Doom. Come on, little people.
Well, see, the thing about it is though, the way it's changed in the movie, Aragorn is like, oh, is it time? I don't know if it's time to do this or not. But when you have Boromir die, that affects Aragorn. So from a narrative standpoint, visually, from a visual narrative standpoint, because you can't go through 12,000 paragraphs inside Aragorn's head in a movie,
Yeah.
right? So there's got to be a visual cue for the audience to sit there and go, oh, now he's got a reason to step up and do, because Boromir was tempted and he turned away from his temptation and he died anyway. And Aragorn is like, well, I'm going to make sure you didn't die in vain.
Yeah.
So there's now story motivation for the character in the movie that you got this much time and the audience has to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, make him a reluctant hero. That's not in the book, but it works for the narrative
Like
of the
I
movie
said,
that they were doing.
It's not the end of the world, but then
Yeah.
they're seeing like the Planeteer scene. Like there's no like it's not as back and forth as it was. Like the movie is like a lot more back and forth, and like like Sauron kind of gets in his head a little bit. In the book, he straight up antagonizes Sauron with the Planeteer. Like, yeah, I got a hobbit. Yeah, I got the rings here. Yeah, I'm coming to beat your ass. With
What are you gonna do about it? You ain't got a body,
what are you gonna
bitch.
do about it?
Well,
You
and
got a body,
that
bitch.
goes back to Hollywood. You know, the flawed hero is easier for the audience to believe these days, as opposed to Superman. You know, I mean, even the Big Blue Boy Scout has got to be taken down a notch or two for the audience to, and it's the wrong way of thinking. If you're going to give me a hero, I'm perfectly fine. Give me a hero. Give me
Yeah.
somebody that I can look up
Yeah.
to. Give me somebody that I can that can inspire me and I to do better and be better. And Hollywood doesn't do that. And again, it goes back to that nihilistic, pessimistic. Everything's dark and gritty. You know,
Yeah.
Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen. Everything past that is influenced by that. It's like every writer studies at the altar of Joss Whedon and Twilight and Harry Potter, and they don't know anything else.
which is terrifying.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So
And I think you just hit the nail on the head that it's because I love dark and gritty stories like that. But you can't. There's a balance that has to be struck, and the balance has been totally abandoned, and that's the issue. It's like it wasn't ever making one or two. Yeah, I love Jay Kristoff as an example, and Jay writes these really dark, gritty worlds with heroes that are half drunk all the time and telling you to go fuck yourself. Like that's fine, like to do that, but you just can't abandon your real heroes either, and that seems what has happened across most of media.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I saw Dune. I saw the movie, the newer one, the first one, and I hadn't read the books yet. And I was like, this movie kicked ass. So then I went and read the books, and I read Dune and then Dune Messiah. I thought that Paul. I did not get villain vibes from Paul. I understood that, like, yeah, there's a really fine line this guy is trying to walk with so many balls in the air, trying to get this outcome that's the best possible outcome with the least amount of collateral and damage or whatever. And then like to see the discourse like on X, where apparently like when Dune came out, people saw Paul as too much of a hero, and I guess Herbert didn't like that. I could be way wrong here, but this is what I've been seeing on X. And so I guess he tried to like lean more into making Paul seem like a villain in Messiah, which I didn't feel like he was a villain personally, but maybe that's just maybe I'm a villain. I don't even know.
So
I mean, I'm sure if you ask a lot of those, people ranting on X, you probably are, Bruce. But,
So I think this is a decent segue because I think we kind of transitioned already without announcing it. But like we brought this. Well, okay, what's wrong with sci-fi? And we brought this man on to talk about Star Trek, and we haven't mentioned Star Trek once. Kind of like how we talked magic systems last week, and I don't think Brandon Sanderson came up at all.
No, I don't think so. I even had it in the notes. I was like Mistborn, but nope, we didn't get to it. But yeah, what's wrong with sci-fi? I think we've hammered Dune out. So yeah, obviously Starfleet Academy. Why don't we start there? What's wrong with Starfleet Academy? I haven't watched it.
Starfleet Academy is written by emotionally constipated adolescent children with
Theater
crayons.
kids.
It's exactly what it is. They're theater kids. Look at me, look at me,
Theater
look at
kids.
me. Pay attention to me. Put me in the spotlight.
Mhm.
And because of that, all of the characters that they put in are me. And what do you mean you don't like it? And they take it personally when you don't like the work because the work is them. And Starfleet Academy, I have called it from the very beginning, Space Hogwarts 90210. Because it is Harry Potter. You know, you have Jaden, Pinkett, Pollyworth, Longbottom, and all of the different characters have their equivalent in Harry Potter. And there's no the problem not just with Star Trek, but with all of science fiction especially, but in general entertainment, is the fact that you have a lot of people who don't read. They're not literate. They don't know James Fenimore Cooper. They don't know Henry David Thoreau. They haven't read Dickens and The Count of Monte Cristo and Les Miserables and all of the Three Investigators books and the Hardy Boys. You know, whatever you pick, all of this stuff. Yeah, Melrose Space is another way to do it. Now, my wife and I have been watching Starfleet Academy, and she's enjoyed it. It's fine, but she's watching it as a 90210 teen drama. She's not watching it as Star Trek because she grew up, she watched 90210. She recognizes Starfleet Academy for what it is. It is not Star Trek. And it's written and produced for an audience that doesn't exist.
Yes, the modern audience.
The modern audience, the modern audience who uses their pronouns and needs their safe spaces and suck your thumb. Why does it have to be hard? What do you mean I have to work for earning my living? Or they want everything handed to them on a silver platter. The 20-somethings, Gen Z, millennials, they're spoiled, they're entitled. You owe me.
Right. A little correction there. I don't think millennials are in our 20s anymore.
No.
Well,
I'm almost 40.
Yeah, but Gen Z especially. My God, my son's 24. And you look at Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler's 24.
Mhm.
Same kind of thing. My sister's a nurse. Her students, she teaches nursing. Her students are the same way. What do you mean I have to work for it? You know, they want everything handed to them. They have this sense of entitlement because they are completely wired. Their brains function differently because they've grown up wired into the internet. Everything's a swipe or a post or a retweet or a like or a thing or an 8-second. You got an 8-second attention span, and they want it now. They want it their way. And what do you mean I can't have it my way? Give it to me my way. You owe me. And the people that are running these shows are counting on those people to show up, and they are trying to use these IPs, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, whatever else is out there. They're trying to use those as platforms for Marxist messaging in order to inculcate them and propagandize them into a certain way of thinking.
Right. Yeah, well, because they can't like make their own brand new thing because they know no one's going to show up, so they have to hijack the established IP.
The one or two times they try to make their own thing, they
Concord.
fucking fail.
It doesn't work. Well, because people recognize it for what it is. And you get something like Assassin's Creed Shadows or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And the whole thing gets exposed as a fraud. And it fails spectacularly, and it's our fault. Yeah, they don't ever take any responsibility for their own mistakes.
100%.
Because how dare you not understand what we're trying to do? You backwards thinking Neanderthal, and it's never their fault.
Like the antagonist was literally the audience. Like, how do you? Come on, dude.
Yeah, it was Doomcock. Doomcock was the villain.
You watch a show like Starfleet Academy, where in theory, like, these people are going to be part of Starfleet.
Yeah.
Not a single one of these individuals, I'm like, they wouldn't last like 10 seconds against the Borg or the Dominion. Like, if they had to deal with any of the challenges that like Kirk, Picard, or even like Cisco or even fucking Janeway like had to deal with, they would melt immediately.
For sure, dude.
Every episode.
Yeah. I'm not a
every
big Star Trek
episode.
guy, but I started watching the original series, and it's like a horror show with sci-fi sprinkled in, dude. Like it's just fucking
What, the original series?
Yeah, everywhere they go,
Oh.
I'm like, I wouldn't go anywhere. I would just go back to Earth. Like I don't want to explore space. This place sucks.
What's the this world sucks.
This world sucks.
So okay, so the story there. Let me give you a little background on the original series. It was sold as Wagon Train to the Stars. NBC kept coming back to memo after memo after memo to Gene Roddenberry and Gene Kuhn and Robert Justman and the people that were making the show, and they kept saying, "We want action adventure episodes. We want action adventure. We want action adventure. We got to put the hero in danger. We need action. Because it's the '60s, and you gotta have something that keeps people interested for an hour." And the cerebral stuff, the philosophical stuff, that kind of thing didn't play at NBC. But at the same time, in order to do the action adventure, you got to have some real danger and some real threats, and you got to have the monsters and the aliens and the spooky castles and the psychopathic orgies and whatever else you happen there. And
also known as Congress.
Also known as Congress. But then you get to Next Generation, and Next Generation is a completely different mindset because it's made in the 90s. 87 and forward, you're in the Clinton years. It's a completely different thing. Star Trek, the original series, came out of the Civil Rights movement. Civil Rights in 1964. Star Trek lands in 66. You're in the middle of Vietnam. You're coming out of the Civil Rights movement, all of these different things politically, not really politically, but socially. Everything was churning and changing. And that's, when people sit there and go, well, Star Trek was always woke. It wasn't. It addressed social issues.
Right.
But it didn't resort to political party propaganda in order to address that. There are plenty of memos going back and forth with everybody talking about how this is an opportunity for us to do kind of the Jonathan Swift type allegory, so we can make points and we can try to teach people and bring them around in their way of thinking, and make them think about ideas and that kind of thing, because you put them in a different setting on an alien planet and stuff, so you could address racism and war and overpopulation, all these different things, because they're on an alien planet and we can get away with it.
Yeah.
But it never told you what to think about it. It just said,
usually,
hey, here's this idea, discuss. But
they're
it
usually
was
good about,
but the philosophy stuff, all of that, the allegory was always underneath. And there's back and forth all the time. It's like, remember, we're making an action adventure movie. We're making an action adventure show, and that's underneath there. It was never front and center. And when it was, it didn't work. Like, let that be your last battlefield. You got black on the right, black on the one side, and white on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And let's hit you over the head with the 2x4 with the obvious. And it's it's a great episode because Frank Gorshin is just going crazy through the whole hour. But it is such a lecture. It's such an obvious lecture episode.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more done to address racism in the Kirk Uhura kiss than there is in that entire episode. But you get to Next Generation, it's a completely different sensibility. And now you have these people, well, everything is a lecture. Kurtzman even said in an interview back in, I think, 2021, that you take these story universes, it's not about making Star Trek. It's about using Star Trek as a platform for the kind of stories we want to tell. And that gets into message fiction. And
it's
that
Starship Trooper syndrome.
Yeah,
exactly what happened with Starship Troopers. Yeah.
Well,
they did it very badly.
Paul Verhoeven, for all that you look at all of the stuff that Verhoeven does, Verhoeven was an idiot making Starship Troopers the way he did, because he's trying to make this political commentary about how the government, how conservatives are fascists, or what, Highline was a fascist, or military, whatever. And he ends up making this really popular, spectacular film that kind of does the exact opposite of what he wanted to do.
1000%. I literally, as a kid, wanted to join the military because of that movie.
Well, and because
Same.
he didn't read the book.
Yeah.
Somebody told him what the book was about. He didn't read the book.
Yeah.
He never cared to do his homework. And, you have people that are serving in the military who could vote because they have served their time, not just some random off the street Yahoo who's got no vested interest in the outcome of the vote. It's just, here, fill this ballot out, and I'll go take it in for you.
Yeah.
Like we are now, where your citizenship depends on your service to your country. And that's not a fascist way of thinking. It just, it just doesn't. Verhoeven he made a great movie, but he didn't do what he set out to do. He did the exact opposite.
No. Well, and more than that, he committed other, I guess, progressive sins, or more like liberal thinking sins along the way. Rico's character in the novel is Filipino.
Yeah.
And they picked Casper Van Dien,
I know.
to play and then move him over to Brazil and make Brazil all white and make it
Argentina.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's move him over to Rio, Argentina. Yeah, and then they have Rico's parents aren't citizens, but have this amazing rich life where his dad has all this money to send him on this crazy Zegama Beach, man. How's that sound? It's like, I'm gonna fly you across the stars for a vacation. It's the whole thing was crazy.
And we need to be clear. The correct choice is Dizzy.
Oh, absolutely.
1000%.
Just as long as we're clear on it.
No
Well,
question.
Dizzy was a dude in the novel.
Yeah, I love that, dude.
Still, in the movie, the choice is Dizzy.
Yeah, to clarify, the
absolutely.
movie Dizzy.
God, she still looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, I think to kind of go back to what is the problem with sci-fi, and like you said, it applies to entertainment in general. So I got out of the Navy in 2019 and started going to school for writing. And dude, all you learn in these colleges now is how to look at media through the lens of race, class, gender. All the books you're reading are from authors who have some kind of identity tag, whether immigrant or woman or minority. And while all the stories might be, different, they all have the same theme of America sucks ass. Western society is inherently evil. It's just a big gripe session from all these different stories. And so that's what they're reading. They're not reading any good stories. And when they go out in the world and they get a job to work on one of these IPs, not only have they not read anything good, but they actively hate this material that they now have to adapt and work on. So I think that's the core issue. And as far as the older people that used to make good stuff and now they're still part of these projects that suck, I don't know. I think maybe they're just,
well, there's ideological capture. There's go along to get along. We saw some of that in the Me Too movement. We saw that in the the COVID cancellations and all of that. It's like, well, I'm just gonna say what I need to say so I can keep my head.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as far as the stuff going on with the schools, it's critical thinking. It's that whole critical race theory, critical gender theory, all of that, which is just another way of saying Marxism.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened is, culturally, the KGB put people, and we still have a number of communist sympathizers in the State Department in the United States. And this goes all the way back to Roosevelt's time. And you have in academia, in entertainment, you have people that have been placed here by the KGB to create a sentiment favorable to communism.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Soviet Union fell, these people now no longer had a purpose, but they're still here and they're still trained and they're still in the habit of beating down Western culture because that was the mission. And now it's beating down Western culture, and the Marxism doesn't become an economic theory anymore. It becomes a cultural theory, and it applies to everything now.
Mhm.
Because Marxism is based on group envy, group dynamics, us versus them. In the beginning, it was, the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. It was economic. It was how much money you made. Because Marx couldn't hold a job to save his life. He was drunk all the time. And then when he got mixed up with Engels. Engels turned it into a political theory, economic theory that then Lenin embraced and modified to take over Russia, and here we go, communism.
Yeah.
Marx never could hold a job, didn't hold on to his marriage. He was drunk. He was envious of people who were successful, and that's where his economic theory came from, is take from somebody else who's done it.
I love that his dad wrote a letter talking shit to him. Like, what's your problem, dude?
Yeah.
Like, you never talk to us unless you need money.
His dad was extremely disappointed in him.
Mhm.
And now you have this idea of the class envy because of wealth now transferred to race, gender identity,
Oh, yeah.
sexual orientation, education levels. Everything now becomes an us versus them group dynamic, because that's how Marxism works.
Yeah.
And in order for you to take power, in order for you to have power over somebody else, you got to have a bad guy, which is most of the time white males. And now
I'm the fucking bad guy.
in traditional publishing now, it's
Look at me.
dominated.
I'm the bad guy now.
Traditional publishing now is dominated by white liberal box wine women.
Mhm.
The editors are mostly women. The writers' agents are mostly women.
Why don't men read?
Acquisition people. Yeah, why don't men read? It's because you're not writing anything for the men.
Yeah.
Right? Men are having to find it elsewhere. We're going to Bain. Tony Weisskopf at Bain Books, they're doing great work. And they do a lot of military science fiction, but they do a lot. They're doing sword and sandal fantasy. They're doing, stuff, and all of the stuff that Bain publishes, you don't know what the politics are of the authors unless they say something, but it's not in their books.
Yeah.
And you can have that back and forth. Fine, whatever. You can talk to David Weber, you can talk to John Ringo, and they'll tell you who they are, but it's not in their books. It doesn't come across. I'm not in my book. My characters believe certain things politically. My characters will vote a certain way. But if you're doing your job right, that's a mix. This character doesn't agree with this character, and they still get along.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Chuck Dixon and Denny O'Neil. Chuck Dixon, hard conservative. Denny O'Neil, as blue as you could believe, liberal. I mean, progressive liberal, probably the most liberal at DC Comics at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they were always, they always got along. They worked on Batman together.
It wasn't an issue for a long time. It was like a recent thing where it really became an issue.
Yeah. It started in 2012.
Yeah.
And it started with the Obama administration trying to make race a thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just grew from there. And then you had Gamergate, and then you had Occupy Wall Street, and you had all of the, the Tea Party movement and Me Too and the stuff that happened with Weinstein, and everything just kind of one thing after the other after the other. Breitbart got killed, Tom Clancy got killed, and this political movement, the Democrats shifted way over to the left.
Oh yeah.
And just went crazy. All of that started in 2012-ish.
Yeah.
And it started with Obama because it was power dynamics.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about what's wrong with sci-fi. We're a little bit past an hour, but we started late. I think we can enlighten this poor man with some of what is all right with sci-fi. There's some good stuff out there.
That's funny because I was about to say, the communism conversation there was a good segue into what's good with sci-fi, because I just finished Tyler's book, and he did a really good job of portraying the communists, not as just, obviously they're fucked up, but like they're not caricatures, like they're real people, and there's reasons why they're doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's not like an ideological rant. You can tell that, but and then on the other side,
Yeah,
also
that and like
capitalists.
those characters are interesting to follow.
Yeah,
because like especially like when you get to Kennedy's perspective, like you almost never know what that guy's gonna do next. He's kind of a wild card like that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Panzerter, Armored Warrior Panzerter. That's the book we're doing for next Friday or next Monday. But yeah, that's a good example. Me personally, we do books here, obviously. So most of my examples are going to be books. But like Galaxy's Edge, Land and Sea, stuff like that.
Land and Sea is a good one.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a couple of them. There's a couple of them that I just read by a new author named Andrew Luddington. The first one is called Splinter Effect, and the second book is called Double Shadow, I think. It's a time traveling archaeologist.
Oh, cool.
So think Indiana Jones in a time machine.
Nice. He's got a DeLorean.
The premise is they go back. These time archaeologists. They're chronological archaeologists. They go back in time to the point where artifacts disappeared from the historical record. We go back to like the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example, just as an example. Well, the last time anybody knew anything about them, it was in 33 AD. So we go back to 33 AD and we find the Dead Sea Scrolls. We take them out. We bury them in a place where 2026 we can go back and we can find them and say, hey, Heidi ho, here's the Dead Sea Scrolls. So it's basically recovering artifacts that were lost to time. And these are really good books. And, you have antagonists, you have protagonists, but there's no politics in it. It's just, it's an adventure. It's an action adventure with a time traveling archaeologist.
Are these authors independent or TradPub?
RFM, I'm pretty sure it's on my way.
Tyler.
I have to look. I can't.
It's
remember
not just me. The weasels are getting them.
But yeah,
the weasels aren't just getting me.
It's just
I don't
the
know
weasels.
what happened to him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, some of this stuff gets published by the big houses, Random House, and, Penguin, and that sort of thing. But a lot of times, you get indie authors. You'll get authors that are published in small press, like Tuscany Bay, for example. They'll do a lot of stuff like that. Chris Kennedy Publishing, Bain publishes a lot of it. It doesn't necessarily depend on the publishing house so much with the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
But you just gotta know where to look for it. But these books I can highly recommend. Andrew Luddington is the author. I can recommend anything by David Weber. His Honor Harrington series is fantastic. And that's used like 25, 30 books in that series, and he's still going.
Yeah, that's an older series though, right?
It is. It started 90s. Yeah. No, I don't remember the first book, but it's basically Horatio Hornblower as a woman in space.
Yeah,
and it's fantastic. I love those books.
Yeah, he also did a series with Ringo. It starts with a March Up Country.
Yeah, I can hear
you. You're there, Tyler.
Okay.
But he did a March Up Country. It was David Weber and John Ringo. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't read anything from Ringo, but I need to. I've got him on the list. He's got a series of books where basically he said, "What if we made some Star Wars books that were good?" In answer to the Disney Star Wars stuff, but I need to go back in and add his stuff to the list. But
that description also perfectly fits Galaxy's Edge. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. It was good Star Wars books.
Yeah.
It was good Star Wars books for military vets. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Wargate's putting out a lot of good sci-fi. I mean, they're still coming out like their Galaxy's Edge. Land and Sea. So Galaxy's Edge is more of your Star Wars. It's like super far in the future, but it's our galaxy instead of some secondary world galaxy. Right. And the Land and Sea is honestly we're coming up pretty quick to becoming in the year that the story is set in. So I think it's started in 2039. It's a near future story. Aliens invade. We have, not huge mechs. We have like,
I'm back.
12 foot tall mechs. Can you hear us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
Okay, cool.
Hey, there we go.
But yeah, I think between like indies like Yuval Kordov, he writes a lot of like horror-esque sci-fi, like incense punk stuff. Devin Erickson has got his Theft of Fire, which is book 1 in Orbital Space, I think is the name of the series.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. His book 2
a cool
got
book.
delayed because one of his
Yeah.
wives had like a brain worm or something.
Yeah,
Brain cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
brain
and
cancer,
you know,
excuse
it's interesting. I read his post about all of the stuff that he'd been going through this last year, and I'm right there with her. My wife's had 3 back surgeries. She's had neck surgery. She's had all of these different things that we've gone through the last year and a half. And I'm caregiver, and the time that it takes to do that takes away from a lot of different other things that you want to do. And he's sitting there going, I know I got a book to write. I just don't have it in me to write because the energy drain is one thing, but also one of the things that I really picked up on and keyed into was he sat there and said, I don't have it in me to play. And when you're creating, when you're writing, or you're writing a book, you're writing a screenplay, you're coming up with some kind of a creative thing, your brain has to be able to play with those action figures to figure out what your story is going to be. And when he's sitting there going, I am so emotionally drained because of everything that's been going on with my wife, and the other wife is great and supportive, but this wife has got brain cancer, and this has been a thing that we've had to deal with. And I know I owe you a sequel. And people are asking me about the sequel, and it's coming, but I have to be in the headspace. And I'm sitting there going, I know exactly where you're coming from, Devin.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But well, and the emotional drain, like so we were talking about earlier about how like they were doing a really bad job of giving lectures instead of what I would call playing with themes.
Yeah.
And when you play with themes and you start pulling in, freedom versus authoritarianism or anything like that, you have to keep in mind the emotional beats constantly. And if you're emotionally drained like that, you can't write a decent story to save your life because you can't keep a hold of those emotions to play with your action figures the right way.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't outline. If you're a pantser, you just fly by the seat of your pants, and I'm just going to make it up as I go, and stream of consciousness, I'm going to write it. That's much tougher to do if your emotions have been drained by whatever it is you're going through in life, and you sit there and you just try to do that. It's much more difficult to do.
Yeah. RFM, wasn't Galaxy's Edge a response to Disney's Star Wars? Yeah, as far as my understanding from Morgan, I think Walt mentioned it. They basically kind of looked at how like Disney.
That's John Wright. That's John Wright's series, right?
No, Galaxy's Edge is Jason
Anspach and Nick Cole. I think Jason said it when we had him on.
Yeah, like Disney, basically shitting on their male readers. We don't want you, the Force is female, all this stuff. Basically, blaming their like we talked about earlier, blaming their fans for the failure of their own franchise. It's the fans' fault. You suck. We don't want you. If you're not going to accept what we want to put out, then Star Wars doesn't need you. And so Galaxy's Edge was kind of made in response for those people that Star Wars decided they wanted to kick out.
I call it pulling a Kelly Sue DeConnick. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. Mm-hmm. And so everybody went, okay. And 73% of the sales are manga. So, it's like, well, you get what you ask for.
Yeah, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. So I tell my kids.
I told my kid the same thing. I still try to tell my kid that it's just not.
I told my kid that today.
Yeah, you know what I think like is a big issue like that, and Larry Correa talks about this all the time on X and so do other people, but like I feel like something that's kind of stopping, you can say like the right wing or the conservative, because there's so many good like conservative creators, writers, whatever, but they don't get the funding that these left wing people do. Like the left wing, like they control the huge industry, the establishments. They have the power, they have the money, and there are right-wing people that complain about, the loss of culture, but they don't ever put their money where their mouth is because they're too busy making fun of nerd culture. So they don't fund these things that could actually help, shift culture around. So I think that's one, like, if we could just fund some of these things, it might help a lot. But
Well, part of it too is your I'm not gonna say conservative. Your non-progressive, hard left creators don't want to make it ideological.
right.
I just want to tell a good story that entertains people. Like Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy sneakers too. Yeah, you have to do this thing that has mass appeal, or it's not going to sell enough that you make any money. And if you sit there and we're going to carve out the conservative version of all of this, and you're doing the same thing that the other side is doing. It's that tribalism that gets into the thing and causes all sorts of hard feelings and escalation, and then suddenly everybody hates each other.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, this has been going on since the 30s. This kind of culture war, especially in science fiction, it goes all the way back to the first Worldcon, where you had this division between the true fans and the new fans, right? And a lot of it was politically driven. You had a group that was sympathetic to communists and a group that wasn't. And they drew a line in the sand, and you're either on one side or the other. And that has influenced science fiction all the way down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not anything new. It just has a different paint job.
Yeah. Yeah, I think aside from book, go ahead, Jesse.
Well, I'm gonna take a moment for a couple shameless plugs, because I've been able to witness and be a part of several groups that are trying to bring back not a anti-political or like nothing that's towards a side, but specifically generating things that promote either a balanced value or a Western culture or things like that. So there's a press just starting up called Blood of Tyrants Press, and if you don't get the vibe by the name, then then you're I don't know what to do with you. Yeah. But I'm actually going to end up donating a story, like for no royalties or anything, to help get that press started. And they're meant to partner with like the Alpha Mercs and other independent publishers to give them an option to have somewhere to publish and actually become a book printer. Mm-hmm. So they're actually getting like true press materials to kind of make old school trade paperbacks again, and get that running. And then I'm a part of the Crowded Shelf, and the Crowded Shelf is like an indie collective. So it's like 35 authors, and we all throw big bookshelves at like conventions and stuff like that. There's people all over the political spectrum in that shelf, but it's become not about what Trad Pub wants or what a political party wants. It's about the authors getting together and taking some of the agency in the industry back. So
yeah,
if you're looking for stuff like that, it's there.
And to PB's point about Daily Wire, I hear a lot of really good stuff about the Pendragon Cycle series that they're doing.
I've heard good things about it.
I've heard really good things. I look at this, I see the trailers, I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff, especially the jumping over bulls, and I was like, I want to see this show. And I have not had a chance to do it, but everything I've seen tells me that I will enjoy this. I haven't read those books, but I look at this, it's like they're really jumping over those bulls. This is a practical. I have to see the show. I have to watch it.
I love practical stuff.
I hear a lot. Do I? Yeah, practical is always better. If you could do that, they go to Spain and they have these guys that this is what they do, and they're doing gymnastics and acrobatics, and they're jumping over bulls that are charging them. I was like, crap, I want to see the show. Yeah, it's stuff like that, and it's again, it's the action adventure stuff, and it male demographic might be the target audience, and there's nothing wrong with that because you're not getting it from anybody else. because they turned Star Wars into a girl brand, they turned Marvel into a girl brand, they've turned Star Trek into a I don't know what brand, a gay Klingon brand, and
big market
now
for
they're
gay Klingon stuff.
well, and now they're realizing, oh crap, we got rid of our male audience. We need to get our male audience back.
Let's have a character vomit rainbow glitter. That'll bring them in.
Yeah, that'll do it. So,
yeah, I think
see
besides,
Paula's got a question for us.
Yeah, let's see here. If you and your friends are Star Wars fans, do you think Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Raven from Knights of the Old Republic? I don't know much about Darth Raven.
So Revan is, I can see it. I think he'd be at least decent. Like as far as like actors who are alive today go, I think he'd be the best casting for Revan.
Well, he's really good for a character that has is kind of like emotionally stunted. So that's why he's so good at John Wick. It's just like, yeah, I kill a bunch of people.
Like for most of like the story, the main story of like the first KOTOR, like he doesn't have his memories. Like he thinks he's like just some dude, and like you don't find out until like you fight Darth Malak, who's been like you've heard about Revan the entire game. Revan haunts the entire narrative. You don't find out that you are Revan until you fight Darth Malak after you've completed like so much of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, what do you mean you don't know who you are? Like, what the fuck? I tried to kill you once already.
Well, and that's the thing, though, is like if we start looking at Revan's story, and I'm not up to date on all the novels that were produced about him, but if you're looking at KOTOR as the game, you were choosing Revan's story. So you could choose to be a total jerk and kill everybody and be a traditional Sith Lord, or you could choose to help people.
Yeah.
The light side ending is unfortunately the canon ending for KOTOR because they're like, well, we need to have a Star Wars after this,
right?
Because the dark side ending is just kind of the Sith run everything, rather than unstoppable.
But depending on how you want to run that character, that depends on the actor. I mean, that's I would have a hard time saying anybody's particularly going to be good for that if they're not. Is Keanu Reeves good at pretending he doesn't know who he is? Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I love Keanu, but he's not the best actor, but he's an American treasure, cultural icon, if you will.
Well, and I think if you were to put Keanu into a Star Wars, whatever character he plays, I mean, he's already played a Jedi named Neo. He's that whole thing there. He's like, whoa, I have all these powers. Well, yes, you have the Force, and you are the chosen one. It's a hero's journey story for Neo, and you have the same kind of thing with Luke. You have with King Arthur. As long as the character has integrity within the logic of the story, then he could play Darth Revan. He could play, Plagueis. He could do, some washed up off the street freighter captain, whatever. He brings a sincerity to his roles that you could have him play a tumbleweed and he could pull it off.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think he did at one point play a tumbleweed.
He played like, was it a cat or a goat or something?
He's done Shadow in the new Sonic movie.
Yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog. Killed it. Did a freaking great job. I loved it.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
So funny.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of wrap up a little bit because we're a little past our hour mark, which is okay. I like, maybe we need to just extend the show. I don't know. You guys are on the East Coast, so you got longer times than I do, or it's later for you guys. But I don't know. I think aside from books, things that like I'm excited about, I think video games. There's still plenty of good sci-fi video games out there that are like I play. Pretty much the only game I play is Helldivers 2. It's easy for me to like hop onto that. I don't have to like grind or remember where I was at, and I still can get like medals from everyone else doing their job. But it's just a fun game. I don't know. I can't think of any other examples off my head. I know they're out there. I'm tired. My brain's not working right. But video games. What about like shows and movies? We'll kind of wrap it up. Anything coming out that are you guys excited for? Maybe the new Firefly animated series, which might hopefully be good. I don't know. See how that goes.
Not terribly. On the video game front, Menace has been surprisingly good.
I haven't played that one.
It's like an XCOM style game where you have like your squad of dudes and you're kind of stuck in this backwater system and you're trying to fix your ship, but also like enforce order. It's very Galaxy's Edge esque.
Oh, nice. Project Hail Mary. Which that's the one with Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard
very, very, very good movie. Go see
Mhm.
that movie.
Nice.
It's
Well, I like
excellent.
his takeaway from it was like, movie. The viewers don't owe movie theaters anything. They don't owe the actors or the studios anything. Like we need to be making things that the customers want to see rather than expecting them to be giving us their money for
Yes.
slop. So that was,
And
that was cool to see someone say that.
That actually reflects an interview that Harrison Ford did a number of years ago, because they were asking him about how he feels about his fans. He's like, I don't have fans. I don't think of them that way. They're customers. They're paying for me to do this thing. And Ryan Gosling says the same thing. And Project Hail Mary is a 4-quadrant family-friendly film. It's not for kids. I mean, it's not aimed at kids, but you could take the kids.
Yeah.
And it's, there's a group of authors who are part of a movement called the superversive movement, which basically, Declan Finn and John Wright and a bunch of guys who are sitting there, Richard Palinelli, they're sitting there going, we need to have heroes again. White hats and black hats, good guys, bad guys. The good guys win. There's hope. He gets the girl, rides off into the sunset. And because all this time, we're going to tell these stories that are subversive, and they went, no, let's do superversive and do heroes. And Project Hail Mary is a superversive film. There not necessarily good guys, bad guys, but you have a heroic figure. Yeah, he's kind of reluctant hero, but he steps up because he has to. He's like, if I don't do this, people die. And Gosling does a really good job with the humor and the pathos, because you got to have both.
Yeah.
And he does a really good job with the emotional stuff. He plays off of Rocky really well. The fact that Rocky is an actual animatronic puppet, a physical puppet in the space most of the time, really does help with that, because John Ortiz, the guy who's the puppeteer and the voice for Rocky, he's in the room with Ryan Gosling, and they work through the scene, and they're looking at each other's eyes, and they work through this. Okay, what is this thing? What is the emotional space that we're in here? And then they go back and they do this, and he's doing the puppet. But he's already discussed the humanity of those two characters, where they're coming from. It's a really, really, really good movie. I have not read the book yet. But if the book is anything like the movie, I think I'm going to enjoy it. As far as up and coming stuff, I'm not looking forward to Firefly. I think they're going to screw it up, because it's Mark Guggenheim and Tara Butters are the showrunners, and that is not a good indicator that this is going to go well. Joss Whedon is not involved. Jane Espenson is not involved. Tim Minear is not involved. You don't have any of the original people. And making it animated, okay, fine. But yeah, it's like people said, they don't even have a studio. They've got an animation studio, but they don't have a broadcast home for it yet. Right now, it's just a pitch, so it may not even happen.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to the new Stargate. I'm very excited about Stargate, because this is how you do it right. You get the people back who did it before, who understand what it is, who sit there and go, we're going to do it like we did it before. There was a revival of Phineas and Ferb on Disney Channel here a couple of years ago, and Disney executives, they called Swampy, and they called the guys who made the show, and they said, we want you to do it. We want you to do more episodes, but don't change anything. And that's the kind of instruction you want. You want somebody to sit there and go, hey, we want more Stargate. Don't change anything.
Yeah.
And it sounds like so far that's what we're getting, and I'm very excited about that. As far as video games go, I'm really looking forward to playing this ET thing. I hear good things about it.
I feel like I have not heard good things about it.
Mine still works, by the way. I've got a 30-year-old Atari 2600. That's where I peaked on my console. It still works. Thank you very much. So,
All right, well, you'll fire that thing up after the stream.
that's right.
All righty, guys. Well, yeah, this was a fun chat, man. Hopefully we can do it again. I feel like we probably could have talked the whole time just about Dune. I was like, thankfully Tyler kept us on track there a little bit. That was nice, man. Thank you.
I got your back, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, Jason, thanks so much for coming on, man. It was great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. This was fun. We have to do it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna start checking out more of your guys' your stuff because it sounds awesome, and hopefully, down the road you get to a chance to become the new Sci-Fi channel.
One of these days, you never know, right?
Yeah,
I'm waiting for Rich Uncle Otto to come back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone who's watching, thank you, chat, PB, RFM. Thank you guys for coming out and participating in the chat. That was awesome. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Tell your friends about the stream. We do it every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Maybe someday we can change that up a bit, but this with kids and stuff, this is just the time that works best that I can get out here and do anything at all. So, but yeah, thanks everyone for coming out. You got something, Jesse?
Merch drop coming at some point. This world sucks. You assholes don't have to live like this.
To live like this.
Howard Andrews Jones School of Villainy.
Yep.
Yep. We're working on it. We'll have to get in contact with the supplier and the manufacturer or whatever the proper channel is. But yeah, next Monday,
Like on Printful or something. Yeah. I'm wearing that This World Sucks shirt, or the Howard Andrew Jones shirt, every week.
Yeah. Next Monday, we're talking about our very own Tyler T. Butcher, his debut novel, Armored Panzerder Warrior. It's got a long
Armored
title.
Warrior Panzerder. Yeah.
Armored Warrior Panzerder.
I deliberately chose it to have a cadence Mobile Suit Gundam or Armored Trooper Votoms or to evoke that aesthetic.
Yeah.
I don't even think they call them Armored Warriors. It's just Panzerder this, Panzerder that.
Yeah. That's fair, dude. The giveaway winner for the signed paperback copy of his book was Lord Valinor.
Lord of Valinor.
His name is Colin, I think. But yeah, congratulations to him. That was the first physical book that I've given away.
If he's Irish, his name reads Lord O'Valinor.
O'Valinor,
with apostrophe.
Yeah, and the next giveaway, which is already up on my X, go check it out. Dirtbaggery BR at X is Monster Hunter Files Volume 2. So if you want to enter to win, go follow the instructions and do all that stuff. But yeah, Jason, thanks so much for coming out, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, see you next week.
Bye.
Night, everybody.
Bye. Night, everyone.
Good night.